Hello my dear friends and welcome to my channel. My name is Barbara and today we're going to be looking at the servant shadow. So it's been coming through for a while to do this video on the servant shadow. So very excited to get into this, what this means and how we can potentially overcome this energy. Anything that does come through in this video is based off of my own personal observations, so you guys can take what resonates and leave behind what does not. So something that I've observed is that especially for people who are in the healing world, maybe have healing businesses, they want to help others, they want to heal others, tend to fall into the servant shadow. Now, a lot of the time, these individuals are going to be more feminine energy leaning, regardless of your gender. You're going to be more so in the feminine energy. And I tend to find that the servant shadow is the shadow energy of the feminine. So the thing is with the feminine energy naturally is very much giving, nurturing, here to help, here to heal, and naturally. The feminine energy is all about being who you are, just being in your overall energy field. So naturally, the feminine energy is going to have that pull to help people who are in need, want to nurture, and all these sorts of things. Once again, this energy is within all of us, regardless of what gender you have been born into. So what tends to happen with this energy, now I don't really know what the reason for this is. I don't know if it's like societal programming, I don't know if it's upbringing, I don't know what exactly it is, but for whatever reason, the feminine energy always tends to fall into the shadow of the servant shadow. So what is the servant shadow? The servant shadow is when you are overgiving, giving too much of yourself, burning yourself out, filling other people's cups before you make sure that your cup is filled first, maybe not taking a break, constantly overgiving. And I've noticed this tends to happen for, again, people who are in the healing industry, healing business, or just people who just want to help and be of service overall. Sometimes you'll notice this naturally in people who have a lot of Virgo energy tend to fall into the shadow as well. But overall, it is a shadow trait of the feminine. Now, I'm not saying don't go around helping and healing people and doing all these sorts of things. What I am saying is not to fall into the servant shadow. So a few things that I've noticed that are like floating around, I guess you can call them stereotypes or just assumptions, especially in these communities. I guess you can call them new age spirituality, whatever way, shape, or form you want to label them, the healing and I guess being of service community. So a few belief systems that I've noticed that have been floating around within these communities are things like don't charge for your services, or don't charge this much, or this is too much, or this is too little. Here's the thing, if you guys do have this belief system where it's like you feel like these services should be donation based or not paid, or however way, shape, or form you want to look at it, then in that case, if you're trying to have a business with this, it's not going to work, right? It's not going to work. You're going to have to find a different way to bring through money so you don't fall into that servant shadow where it's like you're being undervalued, you're being underpaid, or you have that conflicting belief system where it's like people shouldn't pay. So especially if you're someone who's more so on the business side of things, where you're trying to have a healing business or a wellness business and you have this conflicting belief system, you might be falling into that servant shadow where it's like, again, you are overgiving. You feel like you should be giving so much, or, you feel like people shouldn't be charging you, or all these sorts of things, or it's kind of like you undervalue yourself. Because what tends to happen in these cases when you feel like you're not being compensated fairly for your time and your energy, where you feel like you're giving so much of your energy and like there isn't that balance where you're receiving in return. I mean, several things are happening energetically behind the scenes. I'm not going to get too much in like the energy aspect of things, but overall, like the simplest of terms, what I'll say to you guys is like you basically not just start to build a resentful energy, but it's like it's imbalanced is really what that is. And then the energy is no longer pure. So it's kind of like if you're someone who does have this belief system, you have to figure out and be like, okay, is this something that I still want to do? If this is something that you guys want to do and you want to do a donation based, you have to find another way to create money and again, maybe not have it be your business and your only source of income. So that could be something that does take place, or if you guys do want to create it into a business, then you guys kind of have to work through those belief systems. Now that's one thing. The next thing that I do notice that tends to float around, again, is going to be on the concept of money. There's a huge energy of spiritual bypassing that does tend to happen on this earth plane, where people who do discover spirituality and new age topics and all these sorts of things, and they're kind of like, okay, money is now evil. I want to go off and live in a forest and, be away from society. Now, don't get me wrong, this might be in some people's paths. You really have to tune into your heart resonance and see what resonates with you. I always say this in all of my videos. It really depends what resonates with you. If this is a part of your path, then it's a part of your path. But for people who, again, are kind of like, I don't want to participate in society anymore, and this is the matrix and all these sorts of things, at the end of the day, it is a material plane. And this is kind of the cards that we've been dealt, and you have to figure out a way to work with these cards. So it's kind of like if you do fall into that energy where it's like, oh, I'm just going to avoid this altogether, I'm not going to engage in this. It's kind of like, okay, well, now you're kind of bypassing in one way, shape, or form. I know some people might not necessarily want to hear that, but usually you can tap into people's vibrations and feel and see kind of where they're at vibrationally to see what energy they're tapping into. Like I said, For some people, this might be very much part of their path to be in that vibration. So just kind of throwing that out there in terms of the servant shadow as well, where it's like, again, it's like, I don't know how to explain it. There's just this energy where it's like you are in a servant shadow. You're putting yourself below certain individuals. What I will say to you guys with all of these things that I've learned through time, it's kind of like, the way that I see it is like, if you've learned all of these concepts properly, you're going to be living, first of all, in your truth, in your heart resonance, and you're going to be living in that ideal version of whatever that looks like for you. That's the whole thing here. I mean, there is no right or wrong answer. Again, it really depends on the individual, but it's really important not to fall into that servant shadow, because that does tend to happen with the feminine energy, and it's a huge energetic siphon. It's a huge energetic siphon. So it's kind of like everything is an energy exchange at the end of the day, and whatever you guys are doing, you want to make sure that it is feeding your soul, is really what that is, that it is energizing you, that it's making you excited and happy, and that you're really in that heart resonance. If you guys are feeling depleted, whatever it is that you guys are doing, you're probably not meant to be doing that thing, even if you guys think that that's what you guys are meant to be doing. Because keep in mind, things that are shown to us and things that we see visually, that's what we attach to. So it's kind of like, a lot of the time you think and you're like, I want to do this thing because you like the idea of it, but it might not necessarily be in alignment with who you are. And then on top of everything, especially in like the spiritual community and people who are more so like feminine energy leaning, in the sense where it's like they want to help, they want to heal, they want to be of service. I mean, one huge thing that I will say to you guys is, a lot of the time when we are helping and healing and doing all these sorts of things to other people, we are doing it actually for ourselves. I know, again, that might be a little bit of an out there topic, but it really is. At the end of the day, everything that we're doing on this earth plane, we are learning something for ourselves, and we are clearing and healing things for ourselves. Honestly, the highest vibration for anyone to be in is to be in their own truth, whatever that looks like for you. And if your own truth is going to your 9 to 5 every day, that's your truth. There's this whole energy of that type of lifestyle being demonized, but for some people, again, especially earth signs, and this is really what we learn with astrology, and that's why I love astrology, to be honest, because with the earth signs and people who have these dominants in their natal charts, this is maybe part of their own life path. That's the thing, you can't really judge. And again, in these sorts of communities, it's like, you know, it's supposed to be a non-judgmental community, but there's a lot of like, you shouldn't do this, you should do this. It's very like, again, turning into a box. And that's what we want to stay away from. And you don't want to fall into that servant shadow. That's really what the servant shadow is. Again, it's overgiving. It's not just overgiving, it's also like playing small and not living up to whatever your full potential is. Because it's like, again, there's an energy of like, oh, if you want these things or if you want material things, now you're going to be demonized. You know what I mean? And it's like, again, these are the tricks and the traps of all of the things, you know, that do take place. So really the biggest thing that I can say to everybody out there, and I've said it several times already in this particular video, is you have to learn discernment. You have to learn your heart resonance, and you have to be able to detach from things. Because it's like, sometimes when you think you want to do something, for example, like, you know, when everyone's young, maybe they see a singer on TV and they want to be a singer, but it's kind of like, is this part of your path, for example, right? Or is there something that you like in that energetic field that resonates with you? Maybe it's being on a stage. I mean, then you can be on a stage in many different ways. And that's the whole thing here. You know, that's the whole journey here down on earth. There's a lot of evolving and growing and learning and changing, and, you know, not being attached is really what that is to any belief system, even the new ones that are now kind of being thrown at a lot of people. And it's like, yes, some of them are new and some of them are old from way, way back in the day. And that's really the whole thing with the servant shadow. Again, it's sometimes dimming your light. If you think about it, even if you think you're shining, you could be dimming your light, because it's like you're constantly maybe putting other people ahead of you. Or, and I'm not saying be selfish, you know, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying be selfish in the sense where it's like narcissistic. You know, it's kind of like we've gone through extremes on this earth plane, where it's like people have gone through the extreme narcissism energy, where it's like the whole structure is really narcissistic. I've made several videos on this, so you guys can check out my metaphysical playlist if you are curious to learn more about the metaphysics about that. So, you know, there's that energy, and then it's kind of like the pendulum swings the other way, where it's like, forget this, I don't want anything to do with this. And then you kind of go into that servant shadow energy, where it's like, you're playing small is really what that is. You're still dimming your light in a different way. You're like, I don't want to participate in society. Money's evil. I shouldn't charge people money for this and all these sorts of things. But it's kind of like, you know, if that is your belief system, then you can still do those things. Let's say you have maybe like a Reiki business or something of that sort. Maybe you want to be donation based. That's fine. Then you have to figure out a different way maybe to bring through money. So it's not an energetic mismatch where it's like, again, you feel like you're not being compensated in the way that you should be compensated. So that's pretty much my message that I wanted to get out there and get across, especially for, again, people who are more so feminine energy leaning. But this is a pattern that I've observed within people that does tend to happen, where they fall into the servant shadow, where they're constantly being of service, over giving, being too much, you know, for other people, not filling their own cup first. I mean, I always say the same example when I talk about this sort of thing. It's kind of like when we look at the plane that's, you know, going down, and I know it's a little bit of a morbid example, but, you know, what do they teach you? They say, put your own mask on first for the oxygen. And then after you've done that, you can put the mask on for your child. So it's like you come first. Make sure your cup is filled first before you go out there and engage with the world. And it's like, it's okay to rest. It's okay to take time for yourselves. It's okay to recharge. It's okay to give permission to yourselves to basically, you know, put yourselves first in these sorts of things. You don't have to always be of service. You don't always have to be tending to everyone around you, over giving and all these sorts of things. So that's my message for you guys today. I do hope you guys did enjoy this video on the servant shadow. If you did, please do like, share, and subscribe. And I hope you all have a beautiful rest of the day.